For more on where the country is headed, I'm joined by Sukant Shandon, spokesman for the British Civilians for Peace in Libya. Thanks for your time. So we see that the first NTC official are leaving his post after the latest protests. Are we going to see others give up as well and quit on demand by the people? What do you think?
Absolutely, I think so. I think in his afterlife, Muammar Gaddafi is having the last laugh in relation to NATO and the NTC. I mean, this has been a revolution of sodomizers and lynchers of black. I mean, they've turned Libya into a warren of the hunting of black skins. They're selling off their oil and natural resources and sovereignty to NATO. And now the thieves, that is the rebels, they're all falling out with each other. They can't even be paid by their own masters in what they've done, which is actually perform regime change on behalf of the former colonialists of Libya. That's the Italians, the French, and the British and the Americans. Now, my sources on the ground tell me, and it's confirmed, that there is a Benghazi representative to the NTC called Mrs. Ibtisam, who has resigned, and she has said that others are to follow. And as you mentioned, the deputy head has resigned after violent protests against him. Now, if you don't want to believe what Gaddafi said about what was going to happen after the regime fell, and everything that I would say that he said has come to pass, then listen to Mr. Georgia or listen to Abdul Jalil. Mr. Georgia is saying Libya is descending into depravity and hatred. And Mr. Abdul Jalil, who's probably about to resign if he's not assassinated, like the NTC military head, Abdel Fattah Yunus, has said Libya is in danger of descending into a bottomless pit. So really, this is the achievement of freedom and democracy by NATO. It's all become very clear.
So in the event that there are members of the NTC who do step down, who do you think will step in to replace them?
It's, whoever can hack the job,
Who do you think will be the best person?
The thing is, with the new electoral law, it bars anyone who has any real association or loyalty to the previous regime of Muammar Gaddafi. The Gaddafi regime could control the whole of Libya, could find peace amongst all the tribes. The new regime cannot even control something in one town or one area. Now, the BBC is reporting from Gariyan about the secret prisons, about the torture torturing that's going on. The BBC is feigning surprise that this is the outcome of the NATO enterprise in Libya. Everyone knew this. Everyone with a little bit of political nous and pragmatic reality could see that this was coming to pass. But what about Imam Tantoush, who's still tortured, and there's YouTube videos of him being tortured? What about Khalid Kaim? What about Hala Misrata? What about Mr. Dorda, the representative of the United Nations? Everyone in the United Nations knows Mr. Dorda. He is today being tortured. He is being tortured, and many other former senior regime people. Where is the Red Cross? Where is the United Nations? Are they facilitators to a NATO project in Libya, or are they actually there to provide some semblance of humanitarian support? So in terms of who's going to step in, I mean, who's going to step in to do what? What can they actually manage in Libya? It's a complete farce, and the people of Syria and the people of Lebanon and the people of the Global South have to see that what's happening in Libya is coming to them if they're not able to defend themselves and stop this rolling Western aggression against other countries.
Protesters say the National Transitional Council is failing to cover the basic needs of the people. Why do you think this is happening when there's so much oil wealth there?
This is happening because this is the business of the West, is to absolutely devastate and knock out any country that's an obstacle to their total domination in the world. It's no coincidence.
But wouldn't it be in the West's advantage to rebuild the infrastructure there, to keep it going, so that in case their primary desire there is oil, to have a functioning country that can keep providing it?
A great Chinese revolutionary said that the West only picks up a heavy rock only to drop it back on its feet. They've picked up the enormous rock which is Libya and is dropping constantly onto the feet of NATO, meaning that the alliances, the political alliances that they've made, they're in a catch-22. Because of the political alliances they've made, these allies of theirs in Libya are absolutely just steeped deep into intertribal conflict and inter-political fratricidal conflict. So there really is no way out, really, for any type of order in Libya. Perhaps, and this is the main strategy, that the West want to knock out Libya as a resistant nation in the Global South and try to secure, in terms of security and Western mercenaries, etc., the oil wealth of Libya. But it remains to be seen whether the resistance in Libya can allow that to happen or not.
All right, we have to leave it there. Sukant Shandon, spokesman for the British Civilians for Peace in Libya. Thanks for your time.